Her locks cascaded in elaborate arrangements atop her head, each strand entwined with sparkling jewels and curious adornments. Adorned in the splendor of exquisite gowns and the glitter of fine jewelry, her visage was a canvas of meticulous beauty. At the tender age of 19, she ascended to the throne as a queen, embodying the opulence and grandeur that would mark her reign amidst the storms of the French Revolution. Marie Antoinette, a figure emblematic of regal extravagance, was not native to the lands over which she ruled. Born into the prestigious Habsburg lineage, she hailed from Austria, entering this world in 1755 as the progeny of the Empress and the Holy Roman Emperor. Known formally as Maria Antonia Josepha Joanna, her childhood unfolded under the guidance of private tutors, where her education was steeped in the virtues of morality and piety, a reflection of the era's expectations for noble women. Don't forget to like and subscribe, as this is a small channel, and your engagement helps us to create more content for you. Despite having a personal tutor, Marie Antoinette was not notably adept at her studies. Struggling with the basics, her proficiency in her native German was minimal, and her command of French, a necessary skill for her position, was even less developed. Her tutors often found her inattentive and frivolous, with one notably describing her as rather lazy and extremely frivolous, difficult to engage in her studies. The backdrop of her early years was the 7 Years' War, a conflict that concluded when she was just 8 years old. The war's end significantly influenced her destiny due to its impact on European political landscapes. Her mother, the Empress of Austria, was keen on maintaining an alliance with France in the war's aftermath. In the context of the 18th century, strategic marriages were a primary means of securing political alliances. Thus, only 2 years after the war, with Marie Antoinette at the tender age of 10, plans were set in motion to align her with the French royal family. The chosen match was the 11-year-old heir to the French throne, paving the way for her to be betrothed. By the age of 14, Marie Antoinette was wedded to Louis Auguste de Bourbon, marking her entry into the French monarchy and setting the stage for her future as a queen. Marie Antoinette's arrival in France was nothing short of a grand spectacle, befitting the future queen she was to become. However, before crossing into France, a transformation was necessary to ensure Antoinette embodied the essence of French nobility. Her appearance was meticulously crafted, with her hair adorned with powder and her face painted to meet the opulent standards of the French aristocracy. She donned a gown that exuded the grandeur expected at the French court, preparing to step into her role as royalty. Upon her arrival, Antoinette's youthful spirit was unmistakable. Overwhelmed with a blend of impulsiveness and thrill for her new environment and the anticipation of meeting her fiancé, she could hardly contain her excitement. Bursting from her carriage, she eagerly approached the French king, delivering a curtsy that enchanted him with her charm. However, her fiancé, the king's grandson, possessed a more reserved demeanour, contrasting sharply with Antoinette's exuberant personality. Upon her grand entrance, Marie Antoinette was met with a less than enthusiastic reception from her future husband. Rather than greeting her with open arms, he offered a brief, perfunctory kiss on the cheek, then retreated into silence. This initial awkward encounter quickly gave way to matrimonial proceedings, and within days of their first meeting, Louis and Antoinette were wed. The ceremony, held on May 16, 1770, took place in the majestic chapel of the Palace of Versailles, marking their union with all the pomp and ceremony befitting their status. The bride was a vision in white and silver, her gown a masterpiece of opulence, adorned with glittering diamonds. However, the splendour of the occasion was marred by an all-too-common bridal mishap. The dress was ill-fitting. On what could only be described as every bride's worst fear, especially for someone in Antoinette's imminent position of queen, the gown was too small. Yet, Antoinette faced the predicament with unwavering grace, at least in the public eye. Despite the discomfort and potential embarrassment of her undergarments peeking through gaps in the diamond-encrusted fabric, she proceeded down the aisle with dignity, ready to join Louis Bourbon in matrimony. During the pivotal moment of signing the marriage contract, Marie Antoinette accidentally spilled ink over her signature, partially obscuring it. This incident was interpreted as an ominous sign for the marriage. Unfortunately, this ill omen seemed to set the tone for the remainder of the wedding day. Following the customs of the time, the newly married couple was escorted to their bridal chamber by an entourage that included not only royal figures, but also an archbishop. After receiving a blessing from the bishop, and with the crowd having withdrawn, Antoinette and Louis retreated behind the privacy of their curtains to prepare for bed. However, contrary to the expectations for newlyweds, the night did not culminate in the consummation of their marriage. This absence of physical union between Marie Antoinette and Louis XVI would continue for an extended period of 7 years. The reasons behind their prolonged abstention have remained a subject of speculation and curiosity, with no definitive explanation ever coming to light. Historical accounts suggest various explanations for the apparent absence of intimacy between Louis and Marie Antoinette. Some historians speculate that Louis suffered from phimosis, a condition that could render physical relations painful, while others believe the couple's difficulties stemmed from their youth and inexperience. The challenges in their marriage were widely speculated upon, even reaching the ears of Antoinette's mother through their frequent letters. These exchanges reveal the depth of Antoinette's struggles with her new life at the French court. She expressed profound homesickness in her correspondences, once writing, "Madame, my very dear mother, every letter of yours brings me to tears." Moreover, Antoinette voiced her discomfort with the invasive customs of French royalty, such as the lack of privacy. "I put on my rouge and wash my hands in front of the whole world," she lamented in a letter to her mother, highlighting her disdain for the public nature of her personal routines. Her mother, in turn, used their correspondence to scold Antoinette for her perceived frivolity and the failure to fulfill her duties as a wife. In an attempt to counsel her daughter on marital harmony, Antoinette's mother advised her to show greater affection towards Louis, suggesting that lavishing more caresses on him might bridge the emotional gap between them. While Antoinette thrived on the social whirlwind of court life, her husband preferred solitude, indulging in his hobbies away from the bustling court. This divergence in interests and lifestyles became a source of tension. Antoinette confided in a friend, expressing her frustration with their incompatible preferences, noting Louis's fondness for hunting and metalworking over the court's social engagements. Their schedules were equally misaligned. Louis would retire early, adhering to a more disciplined routine, while Antoinette found her stride in the evening, reveling in the night's festivities, and waking well after her husband had started his day. In a move to mend the strained relationship, Antoinette's brother was dispatched to France to converse with Louis. The specifics of their discussion remain unknown, but the outcome was pivotal. Following this intervention, the couple managed to consummate the marriage. By the time Louis and Marie Antoinette overcame their marital hurdles, they had ascended to the throne, following the death of Louis's father, marking 3 years of their reign. During her tenure as queen, Antoinette's penchant for extravagance only intensified, often to the chagrin of her mother. A foreboding message from her mother cautioned, "Your dissipated lifestyle forewarns of impending calamity, a fate I pray not to witness." This lifestyle was epitomized by her elaborate hairstyles, which became symbols of her lavishness. Her coiffures, adorned with elaborate wigs and decorations towering feet above her head, were so intricate that they could conceal small vases to nourish the fresh flowers used as ornaments. Her stylist, Leonard Auty, emerged as a celebrity, setting trends that rippled through the courts and the elite circles of Paris. Antoinette's influence was such that even in mourning, women adorned their elaborate hair structures with urns in emulation of her style. Antoinette's jewellery mirrored this opulence, with a pair of her diamond bracelets valued at the cost of a grand Parisian mansion. The daily ritual of her dressing was an elaborate affair. In her daily ritual of selecting attire, one of Marie Antoinette's attendants would present a book of fabric samples, aiding her decision-making process for the day's ensemble. The Queen's dressing process was layered and intricate, starting with a series of undergarments designed to accentuate her figure, including a hip-enhancing frame beneath her skirt, followed by a corset, and then the assembly of her chosen dress over layers of fabric. This penchant for fashion extravagance did not sit well with her mother, who cautioned against such excess. She believed in moderation and simplicity, especially for someone of Antoinette's stature, asserting, "A beautiful young woman, a graceful queen, should not succumb to the madness of extreme fashion. Simplicity in attire speaks more to the dignity and grace befitting a queen. Out of love and concern, I watch your every move, compelled to caution you against these frivolities. While the royal couple indulged in and flaunted their luxurious lifestyle, the general populace of France was not privy to such extravagance. Antoinette's lavish display, far removed from the hardships faced by her subjects, garnered mixed reactions, with many in France viewing the Queen's opulent fashion choices with skepticism and disapproval. During the late 1770s, France was grappling with agricultural hardship. Grain became scarce, causing prices to surge and placing immense strain on the country's farmers and peasants. This period of economic distress led to widespread riots over bread shortages. Amidst this turmoil, Marie Antoinette was inaccurately credited with the phrase, "let them eat cake," a statement that, while famously attributed to her, was actually assigned to her many years later in 1843 and has no historical evidence to support its authenticity. Despite the misattribution, Antoinette's actions did little to demonstrate empathy towards the suffering of the lower classes. Her spending habits remained unchecked, even in the face of the nation's crisis. The Queen was known for her gambling and for directing substantial funds towards personal projects, including the enhancement of her private haven at Versailles, the Petit Trianon. The Trianon itself was an existing structure, but Antoinette's vision transformed it significantly. She commissioned the addition of artificial rivers and a rotunda, along with the construction of what appeared to be quaint rustic cottages dotting the landscape. However, appearances were deceiving, as these cottages were far from modest on the inside. They were decked out in luxury, equipped with the amenities and comforts known only to the affluent, including pool tables. The elaborate refurbishments and luxurious additions to the Petit Trianon, including silk draperies, extravagant wall decorations, premium china, and opulent furniture, escalated the project's expenses to an astonishing 2 million francs. However, the financial extravagance was not the only issue Marie Antoinette faced with her cherished retreat. The Queen's decision to create such an elaborate sanctuary raised eyebrows among her people, leading to widespread speculation and the spread of salacious rumours. Questions about the necessity of such a retreat for the Queen fueled gossip that she was entertaining male guests inappropriately. The Trianon became the subject of scandalous whispers, with accusations of indecent parties and secretive liaisons, particularly focusing on an alleged affair with the Swedish diplomat Axel de Fersen. In a significant revelation in 2016, researchers deciphered a letter that seemed to confirm the intimate nature of Antoinette and de Fersen's relationship, extending far beyond their political discussions. A particularly telling excerpt from the letter reads, "I will end this letter, but not without telling you, my dear and gentle friend, that I love you madly, and that there is never a moment in which I do not adore you. Marie Antoinette and Axel de Fersen first crossed paths in 1774, with their acquaintance deepening as Fersen became a more frequent presence at events within the French court. His departure to participate in the American Revolution did little to quench the burgeoning connection between him and the Queen. Evidence of their profound bond is found in a letter from Fersen to his sister, where he confesses his inability to marry, as his heart belonged to someone already claimed by another. The Queen's relationship with Fersen, among other aspects of her lifestyle, provided ample fodder for public discourse. Accusations of betraying her husband and reckless financial conduct were rampant, fueled by pamphlets that circulated widely across France. Illustrations that depicted Antoinette in her lavish attire accompanied scathing critiques, amplifying resentment towards her and the royal family at large. In 1789, amidst escalating tensions, King Louis XVI's deployment of troops to Versailles and Paris sparked fears among the French populace that the monarchy intended to suppress the National Assembly. This act led to a decisive moment on July 14th, when approximately 900 Parisians took a stand by storming the Bastille prison. The Bastille, known both as a fortress and a detention centre for the monarchy's political adversaries, represented the authoritarian grip of the monarchy. The assault on the Bastille became a pivotal event, marking the beginning of the French Revolution. Momentum built rapidly from there, and by October, the revolutionary fervour had intensified, with thousands rallying to the cause. A formidable crowd of 10,000 commoners amassed outside Versailles, demanding that the King and Queen be brought to Paris. In this critical juncture, the ranks of the protesters were bolstered by thousands of women who had embarked on a long march from Paris gathering armed men along their path. Upon reaching the royal abode, King Louis XVI found himself at a loss, his initial reaction being an attempt to flee by ordering his carriages. A segment of the mob, driven by animosity towards Marie Antoinette, made a violent attempt to reach her. The confrontation resulted in the death of 2 guards as the rioters surged towards the Queen's chambers. Antoinette, however, had already vacated her bedroom, seeking refuge in the dining area of Louis's quarters, narrowly escaping harm. The arrival of French troops, led by the Marquis de Lafayette, momentarily quelled the chaos, reinstating a fragile calm. This respite was short-lived, as the mob eventually succeeded in seizing the king and queen. They were then escorted back to Paris in a macabre parade, the procession grimly marked by the severed heads of their slain guards displayed on pikes. Amidst the unfolding crisis, Marie Antoinette took proactive steps by engaging with ambassadors and penning letters to European dignitaries, seeking assistance for the beleaguered French monarchy. In contrast, Louis XVI appeared overwhelmed, uncertain of how to navigate the turmoil. With the support of her confidant Axel de Fersen rather than her husband, that Antoinette orchestrated a daring escape plan for the royal family, aiming for the safety of the Netherlands to potentially orchestrate a counter-revolutionary effort. Despite being advised by a French general that a discreet departure in 2 small carriages would offer the best chance of success, her preference for comfort and opulence led to a demand for larger, more conspicuous vehicles. These carriages were to be equipped with luxuries such as a full silver dinner service and a wine chest, choices that would ultimately compromise the subtlety and speed of their flight. Axel de Fersen was among the company in the grand carriage with the royal family, playing a crucial role in their escape plan. Initially, the strategy entailed de Fersen accompanying the royals for only a part of their journey, before parting ways to rejoin them later at a predetermined rendezvous point. Shortly after de Fersen's departure, the royal family's escape attempt was thwarted. The royals were forcibly taken to a house where they were detained. Although they were eventually allowed to return to Paris, their movement was restricted to the confines of a palace, effectively under house arrest. In the aftermath, the French Assembly permitted Louis to retain his title as king, albeit in a nominal capacity without any real authority. Marie Antoinette, for her part, harboured deep resentment towards the Assembly and its actions. She actively opposed them, reaching out to European leaders to express her disdain for the newly established constitution and the Assembly's members, whom she vehemently criticised as a heap of blackguards, madmen and beasts. Amidst an already tumultuous period, King Louis XVI made the significant decision to declare war on Austria, further complicating the situation for Marie Antoinette. The strain on the royal family intensified, and their circumstances rapidly deteriorated. By 1792, they found themselves confined within the ancient stronghold of the Temple Tower fortress, marking a stark transition from rulers to prisoners. During their imprisonment, the age-old monarchy of France was dismantled, giving way to the birth of the French Republic. Despite the upheaval unfolding beyond their prison walls, the royal family endeavoured to maintain semblances of normalcy. Yet, even as they navigated life in captivity, their attempts to restore the monarchy continued in secret. Hidden within the prison, a cache of correspondence with foreign entities was discovered, revealing their ongoing efforts to reclaim power. This discovery precipitated Louis's trial and subsequent conviction. Revolutionary leader Robespierre justified the king's execution with the declaration that Louis must die so that the country may live. As she stepped onto the scaffold, a priest urged Marie Antoinette to be brave. Her reply was a testament to her enduring spirit. "Courage, I have shown it for years. Think you I shall lose it at the moment when my sufferings are to end?" From her birth, Antoinette was groomed for a significant destiny, with her mother orchestrating a marriage that would catapult her into the heart of the French Revolution, embodying the lavishness and extravagance associated with the monarchy.